Book title: Madusa's Minds, Reflections of Ego version 1.0. Author: J.R. Wert. Chapter 23. The Dance of Discipline, Martial Arts and the Ego Spectrum, exploring the deep interconnections between martial arts and the philosophical concepts of ego, identity, and self. This analysis seeks to uncover how different martial arts schools interpret and weave these themes into their teachings, focusing on three distinct approaches to ego: dissolution, neutrality, and inflation, starting with martial arts that advocate for the dissolution of ego. These styles promote minimizing oneself as a path to spiritual enlightenment and universal harmony, integrating profound philosophical principles that encourage practitioners to go beyond their personal identities to connect more deeply with others and the... Next, the analysis transitions to styles that adopt a neutral stance on ego, balancing practical self-defense techniques with ethical considerations, fostering personal growth and respect without centering on ego transformation, concluding with martial arts that emphasize ego reinforcement. This culmination highlights styles that prioritize physical dominance, competition, and personal achievement, an approach that can significantly bolster a practitioner's sense of self and confidence through competitive successes. Through this comparative exploration, the goal is to shed light on how various martial arts impact personal and ethical development and to reflect on broader existential queries regarding the nature of self and its dynamics with the world. Harmony in combat. The path to ego dissolution in martial arts. Various martial arts styles explicitly integrate teachings on the dissolution of ego, self, identity, and the embrace of non-self within their doctrines. These styles stress the philosophical and spiritual dimensions that promote transcending individual ego to achieve greater harmony, self-control, and spiritual insight. Aikido, a Japanese martial art, embodies this philosophy with its emphasis on harmony and non-resistance, rather than asserting physical dominance. Aikido utilizes an attacker's energy against them through a principle known as aiki. This technique requires merging the practitioner's intentions with those of the attacker, effectively reducing the sense of individual ego and self. The founder of Aikido taught that the ultimate victory is overcoming one's inner discord, thus viewing the self or ego as a dynamic, interconnected existence rather than a fixed entity. By adopting a more harmonious interaction with others, practitioners enhance their understanding of non-self, aligning their actions with both physical techniques and spiritual ethos. Similarly, Judo, also from Japan, combines physical techniques like throws and grappling with a strong philosophical foundation focused on personal and moral development, as envisioned by its founder. The principles of Seiryoku Zenyo, maximum efficiency, minimum effort, and Jita Kyoei, mutual welfare and benefit, encourage practitioners to transcend personal ego, viewing this dissolution as a path to a higher state of being that contributes positively to society. Respect for opponents and self-awareness developed through rigorous training foster a shedding of ego-driven behaviors, described often as meditation in motion. Tai Chi, a Chinese martial art, focuses on fluid movements and deep breathing to cultivate balance, calm, and internal strength. This practice opposes the ego-driven pursuit of external power by teaching that true strength stems from aligning with the natural flow of life energy. Practitioners are encouraged to dissolve rigid self-constructions, fostering unity with the environment and internal peace by relinquishing personal desires and fears. In Southeast Asia, Silat integrates physical skills with spiritual growth, extending beyond self-defense to include meditation and breathing exercises aimed at developing inner peace. Silat instructors emphasize mastery over oneself rather than an external opponent, advocating ego dissolution as essential for spiritual enlightenment and true power. This focus on humility and inner tranquility helps practitioners transcend their individual selves and connect with a higher spiritual order. Systema, originating from Russia, underscores non-resistance, flexibility, and fluid movement in its approach to combat and self-defense. It teaches that ego can impede physical confrontations, leading to stiffness and mental constraints. Practitioners are encouraged to maintain a calm, relaxed mindset, crucial for effectively and ethically responding to threats. thus promoting a deeper overcoming of the ego. Collectively, these martial arts styles not only teach physical combat techniques, but also serve as avenues for profound personal transformation and spiritual growth, reflecting a deep integration of philosophical or spiritual elements that promote overcoming the ego. The middle way of combat. Ethical mastery in martial arts. In contrast to martial arts that emphasize ego dissolution as a core philosophy, certain styles maintain a neutral stance on the concept of ego within their doctrines. These styles offer a balanced approach, combining practical self-defense skills with ethical and moral teachings, focusing on personal growth and respect without explicitly targeting the dissolution of the ego. Jiu-jitsu, particularly traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu, represents a prime example of the neutral category, incorporating a diverse array of physical techniques such as throws, joint locks, and strikes alongside values centered on respect, restraint, and character development. While these values indirectly address the ego by promoting humility and respect, they do not overtly advocate for the dissolution of the ego. Instead, Jiu-Jitsu focuses on practical self-defense and adaptability, prioritizing effectiveness and skill acquisition over spiritual or existential reflections on the self or ego. Wing Chun, a southern Chinese kung fu style, is renowned for its focus on close-range combat and efficiency, integrating principles like maintaining stability and calm under pressure, which contribute to personal development. However, the core teachings of Wing Chun do not delve into ego dissolution. The style is more concerned with practical combat techniques and quick adaptation rather than philosophical inquiries into the nature of self or ego. Krav Maga, developed for the Israeli military, prioritizes real-world application and effective threat neutralization, encouraging aggression, awareness, and quick response tactics with a focus on physical preparedness and situational control. In Krav Maga, the emphasis is on discipline and control to enhance personal safety and efficiency rather than on the philosophical or spiritual exploration of ego. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is characterized by its focus on ground fighting and submission techniques. It promotes values such as respect, persistence, and personal improvement, which support character development and combat effectiveness. However, these teachings are more aligned with practical performance enhancement rather than spiritual or philosophical considerations of the self. Hapkido emphasizes self-defense through a variety of techniques including joint locks, throws, and strikes. It teaches practitioners to leverage an opponent's force against them, fostering self-awareness and control. While Hapkido encourages personal development, its primary aim is centered on physical techniques and personal safety, with less emphasis on the dissolution of ego. The approach is more about developing effective self-defense capabilities than engaging in spiritual self-examination. Together, these styles focus on practicality, adaptability, and ethical teachings. They integrate aspects of humility and respect, which indirectly influence the practitioner's ego but stop short of making ego dissolution a philosophical cornerstone. This neutrality allows these martial arts to effectively blend practical self-defense skills with a moral and ethical framework, fostering personal growth without the explicit spiritual exploration found in other disciplines. Triumph of the self, celebrating ego in competitive martial arts, in contrast to martial arts that focus on the dissolution of ego. Self and identity. Numerous fighting styles center on physical prowess, competition, and personal achievement, often reinforcing rather than dissolving the individual's ego. These styles prioritize physical conditioning, mastery of techniques, and competitive success, which can inadvertently foster the development and reinforcement of the ego. Boxing, as a highly competitive sport, emphasizes physical conditioning, agility, and tactical prowess. Boxers are encouraged to develop a strong sense of self and confidence, key in a sport where psychological strength is as critical as physical ability. The culture surrounding boxing often celebrates individual success, dominance, and aggression, all of which can inflate the ego. This environment promotes a strong identification with personal achievements and an enhanced sense of individual identity, running counter to the concept of ego dissolution. Similarly, karate focuses on discipline, strength, and precision through rigorous training, including the mastery of kata's forms and kumite sparring. While karate promotes respect and self-discipline, many schools also emphasize achievement through belt systems and competitions. This focus on individual achievement can strengthen rather than diminish the ego, aligning more with personal development than with spiritual or existential reflections on selflessness. Muay Thai, known for its rigorous physical demands and striking techniques, is deeply embedded in Thai culture, which values tradition and modesty. Yet, in competitive settings, the emphasis often shifts to physical toughness and personal glory. Fighters are celebrated for their strength, resilience, and victories, which can enhance a sense of self and ego, diverging from the principles of ego dissolution. Taekwondo, recognized for its dynamic kicking techniques, also incorporates teachings on respect and moral development. However, its heavy orientation towards competitive success, including in national and international arenas, encourages practitioners to seek personal glory and recognition. This competitive aspect, along with the belt ranking system, fosters a stronger ego by emphasizing personal progression and achievement. Wrestling, one of the oldest forms of combat, focuses on physical dominance, technique, and tactical intelligence. It instills discipline and the value of hard work. Yet the competitive nature of the sport urges athletes to excel individually and outperform their opponents. This focus on winning and personal achievement bolsters a wrestler's ego and sense of self, as success in wrestling is typically measured by individual prowess and victory in competition. Overall, these styles are characterized by an emphasis on physical skills, mastery, and competitive achievements. While they promote qualities such as discipline and respect, they do not offer structured teachings on the philosophical or spiritual exploration of the self that includes ego dissolution. Instead, these martial arts and combat sports often create environments that celebrate and reinforce the individual's identity and personal success, inherently strengthening the ego. This focus aligns with achieving visible results and recognition, highlighting a distinct aspect of personal development within the martial arts spectrum.